What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative. On this channel, I like to talk about all sorts of bookish related things in many different genres, such as science fiction, fantasy, horror, manga, comics, literary fiction, and on occasion, nonfiction. As far as today's episode of fun, we're gonna dip into comics, American comics, creator-owned comics. And if you're not aware what a creator-owned comic is, creator ownership in comics is an arrangement in which the comic book creator retains full ownership of the material regardless of whether the work is self-published or published by a corporate publisher. In some fields of publishing, such as fiction writing, creator ownership has historically been standard. I guess it's kind of like the indie author version of comics, but the one that I'm going to talk about with you guys today is Nailbiter, which was originally published in 2016 by Image Comics Incorporated. Joshua Williamson wrote it and Mike Henderson drew it. There are two series for Nailbiter. There is the Nailbiter series, the original, and then there is Nailbiter Returns. So far, I have only read the 30 issues of the original Nailbiter comics. As you can probably tell from the title, Nailbiter, this is a horror comic series. Well, it's classified as horror. I feel that a better way to describe it would be a true crime or thriller series, more so than horror. Now, there are definitely some dark and horrific elements in this story, but I feel more of a mystery to it than anything else. The premise is there is a serial killer called the Nailbiter, and he has been acquitted of his crimes and is now free, and he returns to his hometown of Buckaroo. Buckaroo sounds like a little hick town that nobody knows about, but that's not true in this series. Buckaroo is on the map because 16 known serial killers have come from this one tiny town. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I thought to myself, that's just not believable. One town with 16 of the world's most notorious serial killers coming from one place? I'm like, I know it's a comic and I'm supposed to suspend my belief a little bit, but I changed my mind because they're not sure why all of these serial killers come from here. Are they born? Are they made? That's a big mystery. And of course, in this tiny town, somebody is either related to one of the serial killers or they know them, grew up with them. It's like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Somebody is connected in some way, shape, form, or fashion. But while I started out going 16 from one, that's so not gonna work. What changed my thinking on that is suddenly in this story, every character I was questioning, is this number 17? Is this the next Buckaroo Butcher? Is our next, did I just meet our next serial killer? Like, I was questioning every character, and that to me made it really fun and just had me engaged. Now, what's really funny is this comic series was not really about those serial killers. It's more of a missing persons case. The person that is missing just happened to be in Buckaroo looking into the serial killers, the most recent one being the Nailbiter because he had gotten acquitted. So that's what's funny. That wasn't even the focus of this comic, really. I'm a huge fan of true crime, so that just really sucked me in. And during the course of the investigation for the missing person, we are meeting people in the town and finding out maybe one of their parents were one of these 16 serial killers, or a friend, or somebody they grew up with. You know, our main character, Finch, he's there trying to locate the missing person. And as he's talking to the different people in the town and seeing who is connected to a serial killer and how they're kind of telling him, my grandfather was such and such serial killer, and would kind of tell him a little bit of the history of it. So you're getting to know the different serial killers and just getting their origin story, if you would. So I found that fascinating because I'm fascinated by true crime. Why a person who was seemingly normal for 30 years decides to just up and go on a murderous rampage. I will binge every docuseries I can find about serial killers. I just am fascinated about what made them do it, what makes them tick. And we know what? We never really find out. We never find out. It's all conjecture of what somebody with a piece of paper that says they have a degree in something. It's all what they piece together and think. Yeah, the serial killer almost never tells them why. So if you're a fan of true crime, I think you would love this series. All right, so we've talked about the story. I love the story. I love the character development. I thought the ending was a little tiny bit of a letdown. I felt like it had such suspense and mystery that just kept amping up, amping up, amping up. I think the ending was a touch bit weak, but reading is subjective, and that is my subjective opinion. I think I just got worked up and I was just binging this series like it was nobody's business. And I think I just expected a bigger ending, you know, but then again, there's that sequel, there's that follow-up series, Nailbiter Returns, and maybe that's why the ending was the way that it was. Maybe they knew or intended to have that second series. I'll have to look into that and find out. So the story was great. The writing was great. I've got no complaints about it whatsoever. Let's talk about the artistry of it. Being upfront with you, I do have limited experience with comics. I do have a few on my shelves that I've read. You know, most of my picture book experience has been manga. I wasn't impressed with the artist's work here. I just thought it was kind of on the simple side. However, where the drawing, the art itself, might have been a little bit on the bland side, the way that the artist used his foreground and background to add to the story was amazing. I was so impressed. I've not seen that in any manga I've looked at, any comic I've looked at. I loved how he used that foreground and background to add to the story. There was times the way that he did that just really added to the thrill and suspense of what I was reading. It just really set the scene. You know, and what I mean by that, just remember, this was a horror, a true crime, a thriller, suspense. There would be times where you'd have a scene that would flash and you would have the characters, you know, talking to a guy in the morgue, and the next pane, oh, the lights flickered out. And you might see a little glint or an outline that was behind them. You know, stuff like that, that just really added to the whole experience of this comic. Was just phenomenal. So while it might have been a little plainly drawn, like to me, all of the guys looked the exact same in the face. Every one of them, they looked the exact same in the face. So did the women, but they had different color hair. So they all looked alike. Clever use of that foreground, background stuff just really kind of made up for it and made it okay, in my opinion. So overall, what did I think? I loved it. I enjoyed it. I binged it. I would have probably sat and read the entire 30 issues in one sitting if I hadn't been breaking it up to film with Una. You might be thinking to yourself, film with Una? Huh? What is she talking about? Well, Una and I filmed a spoilery vlog of the two of us as we read through this series. So we would read 10 issues at a time and then blog about it with each other, read the next 10, blog about it, and so forth and so on. But it is spoiler filled, so know that going in. If this is a comic you've read before and you just want to see how much we enjoyed it as we made our way through, that video will go up on his channel, the Codex Cantina, 11 Central, 12 Eastern. I'll have a link to his channel down below. So if you want to check that out, you know, and just see what our initial thoughts were, predictions, and then what happened as we made our way through the series. And if you do check out that little vlog, please comment on it and let us know what you think. There you have it, guys. That is my first completed horror comic series, my first creator-owned comic series. I do plan to keep this going, so if you like comics and you have some recommendations for me, please put those in the comments down below. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know this is something new, and that is going to do it for this one today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll see you soon.